Welcome everybody to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You are here with your GBHL channel host, GBHL James, going live on YouTube for the first time ever. I do apologise that we are late on the Sunday evening GMT. I hope I'm going to get a few of you joining us here tonight. This is an untried and untested version of doing Speak Friendly Question. We've actually got quite a lot of questions to get through, which I'm a little bit worried about because I am exhausted. Lots of daddy duties today, lots of looking after the in-laws and looking after the wife, looking after the house and doing all the normal kind of Sunday stuff, as well as some fun and games over on the Great British Hobbit League Facebook page as well. So we've got 35 questions to get through today. If you want to ask questions during the video, you can comment on the video and they should pop up, I imagine, on the screen there in front of me as well. But I've also got the 35 questions that were asked over the course of the last week. Now, of course, last week I wasn't joined by Gondorian Soldier. I was joined by Chris of the Copenhagen Middle-earth Battle Gamers, which was amazing. Thanks so much, Chris, for coming and joining me. Obviously, it's always really good when there's a couple of you doing Speak Friendly Question. Jamie and I did actually get together briefly on Saturday to see whether we could do Speak Friendly Question, and unfortunately Northwest Gaming Centre was absolutely rammed and really noisy, so we had to ditch the idea, which is a shame. So let's give this a go, guys. Welcome to everybody who's joined us. I can see there's 13 of you watching this right now. This will be published as well on YouTube afterwards, or it should be. I assume it will be. It says that it will be. So fingers and toes crossed that this works out well. Wish me luck. Okay, so here we go. First question is from Peter Holden, and he puts, thanks for another great show and a great answer. An absolute pleasure. I've been thinking about the perpetual problem of Lurtz and wondered what you make of some of these suggestions. So of course Lurtz is a profile that lots and lots of people cite as being one which would be maybe a top priority in terms of old profiles getting new profiles going forwards. So your suggestions, Peter, are obviously 3s in all the right places and an increased points cost. Special rules wise, how about give him the ability to either automatically pass or re-roll in the way tests? I feel this reflects the fluff from the films in that we see him shoot into combat to kill Boromir and never see him hit his friends. Possibly also give him an equivalent to the Oakenshield rule to reflect the fact that he has a shield in his war gear. Cheers, guys. So yeah, Lurtz is always an interesting one. Always keen to hear your suggestions. You know, you could go down the route of doing a 3s in all the right places style of Lurtz. Of course you could. He'd be significantly more expensive. I don't necessarily think that that's the way that you need to go with Lurtz. I think a cool special rule and also factoring in his shield would probably be enough. And maybe that special rule for him personally could be something a little bit similar to maybe Azog or like a King's Huntsman kind of thing, because like you say, he does have that whole scene where he does shoot at Boromir and the like. One thing that I'm hoping to see more of, oh gosh, that was scary, whatever that was. One thing that I'm hoping to see a little bit more of is of course when we come to army-wide special rules, that maybe there would be a special rule for kind of Lurtz's hunters, as it were, and that he would give a buff to his army and he would get a buff because of that kind of army-wide scout space special rule, which I think would be really cool. So Kaiser Schulich has put, is this going to be the regular format now? No, not necessarily. Just the time that it would take me to set up, do the green screen, do the filming, upload it and everything. This wouldn't be going up until tomorrow, to be honest, later on tomorrow. So absolutely this isn't necessarily going to be the regular format. If you guys like it and you like this kind of format, then maybe it's something that we can look at going forwards. So yeah, keep on commenting. Kaiser's put, fair enough, boss, thank you very much. I know someone else commented before. So what I've noticed on this in comparison to doing Facebook Live is that when you post something, it fades away and I can't see it. Let me just see if I click that. Program, it says show the chat messages. So I know that somebody commented before and I didn't even see that. So we'll try and keep an eye out on that as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what what you guys think about Lurtz. Maybe as we're doing this, you could maybe pop them down, you know, as I'm reading out these questions, and let me know what you think. Okay, so thanks for that, Peter Holden. Next up, we got Bradato Copelli. He's put, hey guys, a shame that I was one of the missing 11. Yeah, of course, we did have to cut it short because, of course, we were pressing for time and the camera was dying as well. But that's okay. A really interesting video, so thanks. My question this week is, having just finished watching Middle-earth's Deadliest Warbands 2015 and 2016, what army, considering the new models now available, do you think would win if there was going to be a run this year? So new models, I actually think Iron Hills Dwarves would probably do pretty well with their captain. I think an Iron Hills Dwarf captain kitted up is very, very, very good. And then just a bunch of Iron Hills Dwarfs, whether you'd have a goat rider or two in there, because you can do that. Be interesting to see what the points for that were. Adam G has put nice trailer voice. Lots of practice. I was the original voice for Middle-earth Deadliest Warbands. Whoever else put a comment up, it disappeared. I can't see it. I don't know what that said, so I'm sorry about that. So if I don't read out if you post something and write something and I don't say it as it's come up on the camera, feel free to post it again if you want to have that kind of interaction, because I don't know how to sort of retrieve that off the screen now. So Middle-earth's Deadliest Warbands 2015, 2016, if it was with the new stuff, I think possibly it would be Iron Hills. Alan Hughes says Lurtz deserves a hat. Fair enough. My question this week is quite a simple one. I have collected a bunch of Corsair models which are next on my list to paint after I've finished the Herald Force I'm on with now. I'm very interested to try and play some naval battles with them, maybe a fiefdoms or Gondor Force. What rules are there, if any, in SBG for ships and boats? Thanks again, keep up the excellent work. Your one and only Bulgaria-based contributor. Well, thank you very much for commenting from Bulgaria, buddy. So in terms of rules for ships and boats, Nicky Streers put, why start the live stream so late? Because this is the only time I've got, pal. If you'd rather me turn off, I will do. I would love to have had the luxury of doing it earlier, but life, right? Life. So, you know, I'm sure this is late for some people in the UK. Some people in the UK might be staying up late to do some painting. I know that's when I tend to stay up late and paint, and I know that other people around the world are getting this at different time zones. So if it's too late for you, I'm sorry, but I'll do my best. And of course you can then re-watch this on YouTube afterwards, because it should automatically publish, which is cool. So in terms of ships and boats, there isn't any rules specifically for that, but I guess you could use things like barrier rules and fighting behind barriers when coming to ships. And then for the ship actual, rather than sort of warriors fighting and boarding over ships, because you could just use those barrier rules, but in terms of ship combat, you could maybe use some of the, I don't know, the man of war rules. I know that there's a Kickstarter called Blood and Plunder, which has come out recently, and I think that there's some cool ship to ship rules for that. So who knows? Thank you very much for that, Brado, to Capelli. WK Valadel, what is your favourite model not showcased in the films? What is my favourite model not showcased in the films? Favourite model not showcased in the films? Favourite model that's not in the movies. Favourite model that's not in the movies. Erkenbrand. There we go. Just looking over at my display there. I love the Erkenbrand model. Love, of course, the character as well, being a Rohirrim myself. But yeah, shame that he's not in the movie. So I hope that answers that question. Next question from the vault, as it were, is from Greenwood, who is posting last week's question. Hi. Fell out of the loot wagon for a couple of turns of the wheel, but back on board now. I've decided that 2017 shall be the year of Gondor. Fantastic. Well, my friend here agrees with you. 2017, year of Gondor. Gondor is quite popular here in Norway. You see them in every tournament. Whenever I see them, I think they look really cool, and I think to myself, next time I'll bring them too. Yeah, I personally think Gondor armies look very, very, very cool. I think that the aesthetic in the movies, I kind of like that. It doesn't really fit in what I imagined that they were going to be like when I read the book, but I really like the aesthetic, and I like what they went for. And I think when you see a Gondor army on the table, I think it looks quite impressive. And part of that comes from maybe the uniformity, and also the ability to bring some very well-designed different troops that you also see in the movies as well. So as well as the rank and file, you've got cool-looking troops like Fountain Court and Citadel Guard and those types of things. So I agree with you. I think Gondor looks really cool. And it's a bit of a dark horse as well, I personally think. And easy to get hold of, which is probably why you see a few of them. You put, then when the next tournament comes along, my competitiveness gets the better of me and I ditch them for something else. Now I've gotten my hands on a beautiful old Faramir model, so I feel more compelled to give Gondor a go. I am of course going to have to take a mounted, fully armoured and lanced up Faramir. However, I'm quite underwhelmed by his performance whenever I played with or against him. So any advice on how to maximise his effectiveness is much appreciated. Cheers, and until next time. Okay, so Faramir is actually a really, really good sort of mid-level points hero. He's particularly handy in the fact that, you know, he can go up to defense 7, he has got 3 attacks, you can get him on an armoured horse, and he has got a lance, you know, which is great. A hero, strength 4 and a lance is a very, 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 very cool stat. So in that sense, just like all heroes, it's quite key to sort of... Don't be the one thing that I say quite a lot of, I have to say, with kind of either new people or people that I feel maybe are sort of looking to get to the next level but aren't necessarily quite there, is some people can be quite overcautious with heroes. But Faramir is an interesting one because he seems to be a natural leader choice, particularly for Gondor at lower points games. But of course he is 2 wounds and 2 fates. And only fight 5. He's got that. I say only fight 5. He's got that kind of the same problem that a lot of Roham heroes have got. But yeah, Faramir. I think Faramir is really decent, and you know, really, if you want to maximise his effectiveness, you know, try and get him to charge on a turn that you've not had priority, maybe with some other bits and pieces and heroic combat, spin off, and make sure he finishes somewhere where you can then use his might and he's not just getting mobbed and cooled down. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try and work out, unless any of you guys know, because a lot of you are commenting, and when I'm reading out the questions from here, I've got absolutely no idea what you guys are writing there, which kind of ruins the live stream idea. So if any of you know how to you know, actually, so I can see your comments, let me know. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up another page on my laptop, and I'm going to go to YouTube, or am I going to go to the Great British Hobbit League and see, here we go. Ooh, I'm actually going to go and open my own post, speak, friend and question live, which takes me through. Oh, I can see myself, exciting. And what I should be able to see, oh no, that's a shame. Oh no, they are. There's the comments. Fantastic. Okay, so there'll be a little bit of to and fro in. Let's have a little bit of a look here. What questions didn't I ask? The ghost of Boromir inhabits that suit of armour. Absolutely. Lurtz gets a hat. He didn't appreciate the mention of his demise. What else have we got here? Hi James, are there any unmounted models for Knights of Dol Amroth? Dismounts, they're quite hard to get hold of, the metal models. I imagine that's one that we'll see GW bring back, though. I imagine would be seeing these, you know, the dismounts. Basically they are the Swan Knights on foot, and they came in a metal blister of 3, I believe. But I think that they're out of production for the time being. But lots of people do lots of cool conversions. Lots of cool conversions with even Gondor and the like, which work quite well. But that's as far as I know when it comes to Knights of Dol Amroth. What else have we got here? Yep, Knights of Dol Amroth are out of production. Hey, cool having a live chat. Big fan. Thank you very much. You've put, is it cool if I ask some dumb newbie questions, or is this just for more in-depth experience stuff? Well, clearly you don't know me well enough, because I'm not great at answering questions. I do my best. But yeah, you ask whatever questions you want, you know. Hopefully this channel and everything that we've done with the Great British Hobbit and the like should make anybody feel like they can ask a question and it's not a stupid question. We're here to help you, and it's all about supporting that Hobbit hobby. So if you've got questions, do just ask away. Leon K has put 2 questions. What do you think about the upcoming Harry Potter game? Well, I think that Knight models make incredibly lovely models. I think that some of their Batman miniatures are really cool. Some of their old Lord of the Rings stuff, the Galadriel in particular, beautiful. It's a bit of a shame that their Marvel stuff's going down. I didn't like the rule set for Batman. The rule set for Batman was overly complicated, but I believe that it got cleaned up when they made the Marvel version. So hopefully when it comes to the Harry Potter game, it's quite a clear rule set. Now, although I quite recently, and it was nice, whilst Jane was pregnant, Jane and I watched Harry Potter together, and that was cool actually. I quite enjoyed watching it with her. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, I have to admit. I don't. There were a couple of movies I liked watching, but I'm not a massive fan. I don't really like Harry Potter himself. I'm not sure if you're supposed to, but I don't think he's cool. He doesn't do it for me anyway. But I think it's cool that there will be a game out there for another very popular IP, and what it might do, hopefully, is encourage some people who maybe don't play tabletop games and aren't into miniatures to actually come into that realm, and then maybe when they see Harry Potter miniatures, maybe they'll see Lord of the Rings miniatures, and that could be a good thing. So you've got another question. In a Radagast Alliance army, which Radagast is the best in your opinion? Foot, horse, sleigh or eagle, and why? Well, all of them fulfill different roles. I personally think Radagast on eagle, though, is absolutely awesome. Radagast on eagle is awesome. Yes, it's a shame that you lose the staff, so you can't do those kind of things, but there is nothing like it in a good army. I think he's probably one of the best, if not the best, sort of hero killers in the game, really, Radagast on eagle. So that's what I would probably go for. Of course, all the different ones fulfill different rules. Having a Radagast on foot, hiding behind things and healing stuff, and doing random panic steeds when things can't see him and the like, can be very, very annoying. And I did a battle report on Hotgates Gaming not that long ago with Radagast on foot. On sleigh is an interesting one because it could be an absolute beast and terrifying to play against, or not, or you can just smash it to bits and trap it and do things to it that there are a lot of counters in the game for Radagast on sleigh, particularly because of what points level he is and what you're likely to face against if you've got Radagast on sleigh. So thank you very much for that, Leon K. Nano Dave 1980 says hi all, hello to you. I've just realised by doing this live stream I'm never getting through the original 35 questions, am I? But who cares? Let's give this a go tonight. I'm going to do my best, as I'm sure you can tell. Look at those eyes. I am tired. But I'm going to do my best for you guys tonight. Ryan Davies has put thoughts on this list. If I remember, it's around 650-700 points. You've got Elrond mounted with 6 knights, Eristor with 8 high elves with shield and spear, 1 with banner, and a captain with 10 high elves, 5 bows, 5 blades. Okay, so what do I think about that list? I think that Elrond is massively expensive. He's really, really cool what he does, but he's very, very expensive, and that there are better options at the points, although he's quite a survivable leader. I think that knights are good, Eristor can be quite good. I think that you're low on numbers, and I think that a high elf captain on foot is not great, to be honest. So I think at 650-700 points I think you'll have fun with it, but whether it's the most competitive in the list in the world, I'm not too sure. But let me know how you get on. Vanders Hammerhand said, we're just talking about Sons of Ale. Fantastic. I've got all of my Sons of Ale are up there. All 15 of them. Yeah, 15 Sons of Ale. If you want to talk about Sons of Ale on this live stream, feel free. I like Sons of Ale. Simon Brown's here. He's put, sound, been watching ages, always tempted me to get back into playing, haven't since the magazines came out. In moving, I found a lot of unpainted models. Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you're getting into the game, buddy. And yeah, a lot of people got into the games with the old magazines, didn't they? A lot of people. So we do tend to see that. And what's been great about this channel and the Great British Hobbit League is we do get so many new and returning people, getting back involved. So next up, sorry, this is moving quick for me. Wow, you guys are good at posting questions live. I'm super impressed. There was me thinking that I would maybe get through 5 questions off the laptop and then get maybe 1 or 2 live, but you're testing me. We've got Kenneth Dooley, who's put a comment here, just getting into the game and love this channel. Thank you very much, mate. And all the content you guys upload. Wish I got into the game years ago. Well, you're here now. That's all that matters. So welcome. WK Valida put, where's the link to the HP game, guys? Oh, you mean Harry Potter game. If you check out Knight Models, go and have a little look at that. I'm sure someone will give you a link. Simon Brown, any tips for what army might be a good beginner set of models to start with, or good to look up that might help? Been watching years, got me back loving the game. That's brilliant, Simon. A good beginner set of models, well, the Old Mines and Moria set are pretty good, but the Escape from Goblin Town's fantastic value for money and gives you, you know, a selection of really cool, fun, decent heroes, some scenery, and also, you know, a core Goblin Town army which you can build from and actually, you know, do pretty well with a Goblin Town army. So I think that those starter sets are pretty good. But as ever, my best advice would be always just find the things that you think look the coolest. That's always the best way to start. We've got Debbie here. Thoughts on a list for Stockport? Of course, Desolation of Stockport's just in a couple of weeks. I cannot believe that we've nearly sold 90 tickets. That is incredible. Super excited to see everybody who's coming there. It's going to be awesome. Going to be a bit weird because Jamie is hardly going to be there. Jamie's hardly going to be there, which is going to be a shame, but I think he's going to be popping in. But yeah, it should be a really exciting weekend, and hopefully we can sell those last few tickets, because that would be it'd be incredible if we sold out Stockport 90 tickets, and you know, to match the Warhammer World events, which would be brilliant for Desolation of Stockport. So yeah, you put thoughts on a list for Stockport. I'm going to be playing a little more casually, but still want to put up a fight. You know, it's such a broad question. All I can say to you is, you know, what have you got? What do you like playing with? What do you like the look of? You know, go for a nice. What's normally a good idea if you want to sort of play casually and take something which is pretty, you know, not filthy, but you know you're going to do all right with, is to think of a theme that you really like and then start optimizing that theme. So for example, mine was always the all-mounted Rohan, but I didn't take Theoden and Hammer and Gamling. You know, I optimised the list and started taking Erkenbrand and doing his upgrades, and taking Eowyn because he's cheap, brings might, allows me to bring more riders, started swapping some Sons of Aelin and Outriders, and you know, optimise your list that way. That's a pretty good way of going. Nickish3 has put, what's your opinion on the Watcher in the Water? I think the Watcher in the Water is good fun. I'm not the person to ask about the Watcher in the Water. Best person to ask about Watcher in the Water is Owen Wright. So feel free to ask him. But I think it's pretty cool that you can sort of just turn up in the middle of your models, and the fact that it can fire its tentacles out, and you know, that as you chop off a tentacle, it gets less good, and I just think all of those things. I think it's got some really cool fluffy written rules, so I do like the Watcher in the Water. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm getting like millions and millions of live questions, I'm going to quickly just answer one or two more off the wrong one. Where am I? Speak, friend, and question. No, that's the live one. Here we go. I'm going to ask one from the loop. So here we go. We got Joshua Harmon. He's put, the all Balrogs can fly, if you read the lore, really got me. Whether or not Balrogs have wings can fly is one of the greatest debates amongst Tolkien fandom, from the fans to the Tolkien scholars like Michael Martinez. Personally, given that massive debate, I think GW did a clever job, given the debate, in giving the Balrog rings but not the fly special rule. Well, I don't think I think giving the Balrog wings is more to do with the... Is that not to do with just the aesthetic from Weta Workshop? Because the Weta Workshop aesthetic has wings? I don't think that's to do with Games Workshop, really. And you know who does need fly now, though? The Necromancer of Dol Guldur. If they're not going to give him a physical form, and given the appearance in the Hobbit movies now, and even just down to the GW model, fly just makes sense now. Well, I don't think that we're going to see that, considering we have seen some changes to the Necromancer of Dol Guldur in the There and Back Again supplement. Which, if you haven't seen, do go and check that out. Thank you very much for that, Joshua Harmon. One more from the loop, and then back to the live stream. Unfortunately, one of the guys missed off last week, but a great episode. It was interesting to hear your thoughts on the Balrog profile. Yeah, the Balrog, just like Lurtz and Theoden, is another profile that people discuss quite a lot. I think it'd be interesting to hear, and I think it'd be interesting to see it gain options, much like the Dragon profile, to be able to represent Balrogs in the earlier ages of Middle-earth. Yeah, it's cool. My question from last week was, with the drop of the new TABA FAQs, what do you guys make of the clarifications? I thought those clarifications were made with sass. That's what I thought about that FAQ. that was all sass. It was full of character, and I loved it, because hopefully what it shows is that, you know, you hopefully encourage everybody just to use a little bit of common sense sometimes. And, you know, I know it's tough when it's a rule set for a game and people want to play to the letter of the law, especially if they want to play competitively. But, you know, sometimes there is a degree of sort of common sense, and just sort of ask the question out loud first of all. And that's what I got. That's what I thought about that FAQ, was that a lot of it was relatively obvious stuff. And there were some nice changes in there. It was nice to see sort of the changes to Lords of Battle again, which I was really happy about, because I was distraught when it happened last time. That killed Get Buff Bat Rep. Who remembers Get Buff Bat Rep? Comment if you remember Get Buff Bat Rep. It was awesome. And the changes to Lords of Battle killed that, because I didn't want to have to do loads and loads of press-ups for every single time I filled the battle report. But yeah, so I like those changes. And yeah, there's some cool changes and some clarifications that, personally, I thought a lot of them were common sense, but it's good to see. And what's great to see is that we've now got that kind of sort of community and then team engagement back and forward, and to have it that quick is great. So we've almost got like a live FAQ almost, because we've got that kind of contact, which is really, really, really good. But also we're going to see continuation of rules we'd like to see series, especially with the new army rules concept introduced in there and back again. That's a tough one, because me and Steve were filming that, and me and Steve haven't managed to get together for a long time. So whether we'll finish that or not, I'm not too sure. It's a shame to leave a series unfinished, but considering we've had all the new stuff since, there are probably sort of other priorities for content, maybe. It depends. What do you guys want? Would you like to see us sort of finish off that series? Do let us know. Do let us know. Is there anything you would love to see each of your favourite armies gain in the game going forward? Well, I've spoken about this before, you know, with the Rohirrim. Rather than just necessarily like you get a bonus for taking pure Rohirrim, and likewise with Gondor and everything, I would like sort of things which reflected either periods of time or stories within, you know, the story itself. So, for example, a Helm's Deep list, and that had particular army bonuses that include certain models and profiles, or a Muster of Rohan, or a Battle of the Pelennor. I would you know, quite greedily like those kind of things, because I can think of really cool special rules that would represent those forces in those specific parts. I mean, I think big ones for Rohirrim are just things that allow you to take Theoden as your leader, and him giving buffs such as him being a big banner, and that type of thing, and you know, or giving extra fight value, or +1 strength to everything on the charge, to everything within a certain distance, those types of things. But it'd be interesting to see what they do in that regard. And you put here, also with the Necromancer now being replaced and the loss of Dol Guldur upgrade being lost, would you like to see troop name upgrades are more commonplace like the Black Numenorians, and combining profiles into upgrades like Morannon and Orc, plus Osculia effects and Warriors and Ministerial? Keep up the great work, Alex. Yeah, I mean, I like upgrades. I do like heroes that allow you to bring upgrades, because then it gives you another reason, another thing to think about when you're building army lists. So I do think that that's quite a cool way of doing it. I do like that. I do like that. Whether we see more of that or not, who knows? Who knows? It's yet to be seen. Back to the live feed. Let's scoot back over and see how we're getting on. Okay, Paintbrush Pirate, hello, thanks for joining us. You've put, for 800 points Isengard, do you think Warg Riders are an option? Thinking of thinking of 3 or 4 to complement Saruman, Berserkers, Crossbows and Warriors. Got to put the army together for the East Anglia Hobbit community Journey of the Ring. Well, that looks like that'll be great fun. Those guys always put on a cool event with beautiful terrain as well. So, do I think Warg Riders are an option? I think having mounted options are good. Whether they are great in an Isengard army, who knows? I think Isengard have got some pretty good options that aren't Warg Riders. But if you were going to bring them, I can see them being useful for things like, you know, very specific objective games, going and getting objectives and the like. But I think probably in Isengard there are better options. But if you like Warg Riders, you like Sharky, and you like that whole thing, then that's cool. That's cool. Hope that helps a little bit, Paintbrush Pirate. Alistair Snook. Hi James, what do you think of the new Gundabad Trolls? Also, regarding re-releases, what would you like to see come back first? Thanks for staying up for us. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I'm so tired. I am tired. But hey, you know, this is good fun, isn't it? And nice to end this Sunday on a positive note, I hope, for everybody in the Great British Hobbit League. So what do I think about the new Gundabad Trolls? They are massive. They are massive. I don't have much sort of thought and opinion on the profiles too much. I mean, I've had a glance into there and back again, but evil doesn't really interest me, to be honest. You know, maybe I should make it my sort of prerogative to be a little bit more attentive to those things, but I haven't really had a good look. I mean, they look brutal. The models are beautiful. They're beautiful, and there's a lot of resin there. £60. You know, £60 a good wedge of money. But I see people buying them because they're big, and they look cool, and all the new stuff looks cool. So, you know, fingers crossed that they sell well. That's my kind of outlook on them. They look really cool, and they're bigger than things that we've seen before that are similar. So, you know, that's a little bit different, isn't it? And in terms of re-releases, I would like to see come back first. So things which are out of production that I would like to see. Questions that make me really think. This is tough. Things that are out of production that I'd like to see back. What I end up doing in questions like this is I frantically look around my cellar for things that, you know, or maybe that I don't have, or what would I like to see re-released? There we go. I don't have a Dalamir. I'd like a Dalamir. That's my answer. I'd like a Dalamir because I've got Gildor. You know, I've got a Halbrad a lot. I don't really like the Halbrad with the horn and no helmet. I've got a Halbrad that I like. You know, and I've got things like Malbeth and, you know, Knight of the Pelennor, Bin Metal, and I've got all those types of things. So I'm just thinking, what? I'd probably go with that. Dalamir. That's what I'm going for. Next up, we got Devi, another army list question. He's got 800 points. Knight on Fell Beast, Shadow Lord on Fell Beast, 2 Mahud Kings on Camel with Lance and Shield, 13 and 14 Mahud Rainers with War Spear and Blowpipes, 1 Raider with Blowpipe and Banner. Sounds like fun. 2 Dual Fell Beast is always tough. You're low on numbers there. You know, from an objective game point of view, your Wraiths on Fellbeast have got to do an awful lot, and whether the Shadow Lord is capable of doing that in that type of force is another thing. I understand why you might want to protect your Mahud with the Shadow Lord, and he's a decent caster, I suppose, but I think in that kind of list you probably need a more combat-y Wraith, or a Wraith that's got a bit more will, so it can do a lot more over the course of the game, because your Wraiths on Fellbeast are going to have to do a lot in those games, with only sort of 16 other camel riders, basically. Dominic Beast Raybold. This is a great one. New Thranduil on Elk. Discuss. What do you think about New Thranduil on Elk, pal? I'm the same. I was pretty speechless, I have to say. You know, which is unusual for me, right? New Thranduil on Elk. That is beautiful. It's beautiful. Let's just all take a little moment. Wow, I love it. It's gorgeous, absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. That is a model that I will be, the moment that comes up, that is getting pre-ordered, absolutely, straight away. And the moment it comes home, that's a model that I'm going to unbox, and I'll do a video for that one. You know, so that's what I think about New Thranduil on Elk. Whether the Elk is worth it in the game, I think it's worth it from a cool point of view. I've had some interesting discussions. I'm on the side where I think that it's quite worth it, because again, coming from that kind of cavalry side of things, I like the whole sort of you charging in initial combats, heroic combat off to maximise the damage that a hero and anything that was with them in can do in the first turn. But of course, Thranduil is so good on foot that do you really want him on that Elk, potentially only getting 3 attacks? for that long, no matter how good the elk is. When strength 5 for him is it's a big deal, really. But the model, mwah, mwah, magnifique. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. Massive, massive, massive thumbs up to the guys who made that. Love it. Nano Dave 1980, he's put, James, any more news for ArdaCon? This is the first Speak Friend in question since ArdaCon tickets went on sale. They are on sale. If you go to www.hotgatesgaming.com, the tickets are on sale. Now, there are a few things on the site which aren't finished, some things which are outside of my control. But the tickets are on sale. One thing that I was unable to do and I couldn't work out to do was to find a way where when you bought the ticket using the add to cart PayPal merchant thing, you will receive a receipt from PayPal which will act as proof of your purchase for ArdaCon, by the way. And I do receive a notification that comes to my emails. But I was trying to find a way that you would do that and then you would then automatically receive an email giving you confirmation from Hotgates Gaming. No idea how to do that, so I'll have to do that manually later on. More work, but if that's what it takes, that's fine. In terms of more news, the only real things that I need to do is to get the things which are already in packs and put them on the Google Docs and create the buttons and put them into the event pack part. But that won't take me long. I mean, I could have done that tonight, to be honest, after they went to bed. But Speak Friend question was due. It's just finding the time. I just need a good sort of 2, 3, maybe 4 hour window where I can just sit down, and that is my priority. But yeah, ArdaCon's happening. It's already sold over 40 tickets, which is really good in a couple of days. So there's 204 tickets available. I need 150 of you to come, otherwise I'm in a lot of trouble. So make sure you do come to ArdaCon SBG International this year. It's going to be huge, huge, huge. Okay. Thanks for that question. Another live question. Hey, will there be a video on how you did the paint job on the Iron Hills? Well, when I paint the Iron Hills, I'll probably do a hobby block and do that, and I'm pretty sure the other hosts will as well. Has Steve already done that? Did Steve do that? GBHL Steve? I'm not too sure. But yeah, we could certainly do something like that when I get round to them. They're quite low on my painting priorities at the moment. I've got a commission for Adam Marcel of the Ontario Strategy Battle Gaming League and Blackfire Productions, good friend of the show. Go and check out his content. If you are not on his channel, Blackfire Productions, go and have a look, because they create some great battle report content these days. Very good, very, very, very good. And he's a top guy, a good friend of ours. And I'm painting some Riverdale Knights for him, and they aren't a million miles away from finishing. But again, it's one of those where with those I need a day where I just sit down and that is all I do, and I get them finished. So they're my priority. And then my next priority is I've got another commission, which is a Rohan commission, which I want to do alongside some of my Rohan heroes and unfinished or needing repaint Rohirrim. So that should be really cool. So those are my priorities. When Thranduil and Elk turns up, that's a priority. And I also want to start chalking away at some other bits and pieces as well, as and when I can. I need to start sort of dropping the odd hero in and doing a really good job on them. Okay. I'm going to, so there's loads of live questions there, but I'm going to quickly skip back to the loop. Here we go, let's see how we get on. Where's the loop? The loop provides, here we go. Okay, Stephen Bonner, hello. He's put, cheers guys, Looper. Assuming good versus matchups with 2-list format. Question 1. Knowing my standard style of army list, Horde, would a D5 warrior base suit versus evil forces more due to their already availability to strength 4 warriors? It's a very good point. Defense 5, defense 3 and defense 7 are all good options, because evil lists tend to have quite a lot of strength 4 available. So, defense 5 can negate that. But of course, there's so much piercing strike and the like available that actually just sort of having as high defense as possible can be quite useful as well. Question 2, would Orc Fury affect a Warg mount whilst they count as a single model? Nope. The Fury just affects the race. So it says it on it in the Fury spell. It actually says which race. I'm pretty sure it says that. Apart from in the Easterling list, so if you take an Easterling War Priest, then that affects mounts. But with orcs and wargs, no. And question 3, named or unnamed wraiths versus good forces with an orc horde. If you want to be super cool, unnamed wraiths. Unnamed wraiths are an outstandingly well thought out profile. They're so cool. Add theming, and they work well, and they're just really, really, really well thought out profiles. And unfortunately, wraiths get a bad name full stop because of their named counterparts we find, particularly in combination with the Fell Beast. So if you want to be super cool, unnamed, but with your orc horde, then definitely named. Definitely named. And depending on what defense you've got, with new deployment and you want the Shadow Lord, almost certainly. And if you're going to have more, then maybe the Undying as your leader. Okay, so next up here we've got King Boneseyes, but yep, the Iron Hills crossbows are only in the Chronicles. However, they are nothing like you have ever seen, and the built 40 working ones. Sadly, they never made the movie, Durin Son. Well, they made the game, which was a massive surprise to me when I didn't see them in the Battle of the Five Armies movie. Back to the live feed. King Boneseye was the last person there. Back to the live feed. Let's see how we're getting on. Kaiser Schulich. Question, can Aragorn in any of his forms convincingly beat any Azog profiles? Hobbit profiles seem more overpowered than Lord of the Rings, but surely Isildur's heir should be able to beat him. It's a common observation. It's a very, very common observation. Can Aragorn in any of his forms convincingly beat any Azog profile? You would hope that, so if you're going to say Aragorn in any of his forms, his most beefy form is Aragorn King Alessa. And of course he can. Of course he can beat Azog. If it is a dice game, if the dice go in his favour. The thing is, Azog can do an awful lot. Can do an awful lot. And people often make the comparison, because these are new profiles with new special rules and the like, that there's been some kind of creep. I think it's just because the old profiles are quite outdated, and I would expect things like Aragorn and the like to be looked at going forwards. But we see a lot of Aragorns on the table. Aragorn Strider, particularly, and Isildur's heir in some armies, but Aragorn Strider at 190. So at 190 points, if you know what that combination is a relatively well seen profile, because it's still a 3 might point per turn, with a hero with 3s in all the right places, defense 6, but fight value 6, strength 4 is still relevant in the game. So it might be a bit out of date, but I think that we'll see them get looked at, absolutely. And can he beat Azog? Yeah, he can, but I know what you mean. Azog is pretty brutal and probably wins that more often than not. You've added to that Knight of Umbar on Fell Beast. Oh, sorry, this is Jack Henderson asking for a list. Knight of Umbar on Fell Beast, 12 half trolls, Mahud King on Camel, Spear and Shield, 8 Abacan Guard, 4 Haradrim Spears and Bows, Shade, 11 Orcs with 6 with Spears, 6 with Bows, 2. Not sure what you're like in terms of bow limit there. I'm not going to calculate it. Yeah, it looks like good fun. 800 points, again, lowish numbers. Your big things have got to do an awful lot. Your half trolls have got to absolutely mince it. Dominic Raybolds, but Balrogs are overrated. Kaiser asked that question last week, but if you see again, just ignore it. It will do, if I remember. Gary Dummigan, welcome. You put how many figures you got? Thousands. Absolutely thousands. Don't tell Jane. I've got thousands. Okay, let's say I've probably got a minimum of 50 models per army that I've got, and I've got Fiefdoms, Hunter Orcs there, Haradrim and Corsair Reavers, I've got Mirkwood, New Mirkwood, I've got Gondor, I've got lots of, I've got Rivendell Knights, I've got lots of the new dwarves. I've got lots of the Hobbit era dwarves, full stop. I've got an Angmar army, Eagle armies, all my Rohirrim. Must be over 1,000. Not to gloat though. William Nuttace, but what's the difference between the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings battle game? Are people still playing Lord of the Rings? Okay, so the difference is predominantly just the branding, as it were, because when the Hobbit came out, the game was rebranded as the Hobbit Strategy Battle Gaming, and as such there were a few rules tweaks, but models from the Lord of the Rings era still work in the Hobbit rules. The Hobbit rules now cover all of Middle-earth gaming, really, and in the end the goal and the vision is for it to become Middle-earth strategy battle game. So in terms of the actual rules differences, a lot of the shooting rules have changed a lot. So there's now move and shoot penalties, there's no volley fire and the like. Some of the scenarios have changed. So yeah, just a few sort of bits and pieces like that. There are special strikes which have had a big impact on the game. So the weapon that you carry can have an impact on the fights that you have, and there are a few more sort of heroic actions. Those are the kind of a basic rundown of some of the changes. So I hope that helps. David Murphy answers you there. And you two have a bit of a back and forth. Tim Hines, do you think the Witch King would be too powerful if you made him fight 6 and the Morgul Crown 15 points? Would it be too powerful? Well, I think the Morgul Crown should be maybe 15 points. It's very expensive. Well, it's very expensive. Why would you pay that when you could just pay 20 more points for a Fell Beast? Right? The Morgul Crown is something I would change. Whether he should be fight 6 or not is another thing. I like him being fight 5. I think fight 5 fits. It's a nice bit of continuity with the other casters in the game and with the other raids as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. We've got Adam G. He's put, need to wait until my play is over and settle in a new job, but I shall be buying ArdaCon tickets. Oh, come on, I hope you're all coming to ArdaCon. Do you know what one of the most amazing things? So I don't know if you also, if you're not part of the ArdaCon group, please get on there and go and check it out, because that's where all the updates were for. And some of you might have noticed that sort of a week and a half ago, somebody, I mean, what a coincidence, Googled ArdaCon 2017 and the website which I've been constructing, which I'd only published briefly in order to test a few things. They found it, and they happened to find it just the right time, and not only did they purchase tickets, they then shared the link and other people did the same. But one of the most amazing things about that was that already tickets have been bought by Norwegians, Americans, Belgians, to name a few. Who else have we had? We've had guys from the Channel Islands. Of course, you've got the Scots and the Irish, as per usual, coming and getting involved. Who else has bought tickets already? Germans have bought tickets already. The Dutch have bought tickets already. And that gives you a real good idea about what ArdaCon SBG International is. It is SBG International. It is a gathering of everybody in the community, whether you're a gamer or not, whether you're there for the competitive side of being, in a World Team Championships, or whether you're there just to meet people, have fun and show off miniatures, and of course see all the cool stuff that will be there. Hopefully we'll see a bunch of you there. We've got Infinite Remains here, but great work on the live stream, James. I'm doing my best. And for staying up late to answer our questions. One question: what's the worst combos and models that you see that would make you sigh at the absolute cheese? Well, I think the kind of one that gets cited often as being, oh, that really is sort of, and it doesn't really fit in any kind of way, is when you see a shade plop down behind something else. So people often talk about reavers with a shade. That type of thing is the one where you go, it doesn't really work for me. That's one that kind of gets me. In terms of a combo, whether it's the worst combo or not is of course debatable. It's debatable, but that's what people think. Nano Dave 1980 says, "Put the helmet on, please." But then I will expose what he actually is. Let's There we go. That doesn't look as attractive in the background now, though, does it? I'll put the Gondor helmet on. There we go. What do you think, guys? Does it suit me? Oh my god. There's an echo in the helmet. I've gone really loud. Okie dokie. There you go, Nano Dave. I hope that helps, buddy. Brushed Fiction puts greetings from Germany. Hello. Good that you're here. Is there an army you haven't seen at a tournament? Which armies do you rarely see? Armies I haven't seen at a tournament. I think I've seen pretty much everything. There isn't an army I haven't seen at a tournament from the top of my head. Absolutely not. No, I can't think of an army I've not seen. Not a single one. Here we go. Vanders, he's mentioned about Jack Henson's bow limit. David Murphy's tested a LSR against the previous 2 versions of Azog and Bolv. He played each profile 3 times, 12 rounds in total. Not a single loss for Aragorn. He's still far too overpriced though. Yeah, I think a LSR. I think it's because, and it's widely agreed that that a lesser having to pay the points for Anduril, and Anduril being so expensive for what it does in this modern era of the game, I think I think that's where the issue is. I think a lot of people are in agreement that if you lowered the cost of Anduril significantly and gave it some better buffs, so yeah, it could still be 4+ to wound, but if Anduril also made him fight 7, and also gave him the same rule that Narsil gives to his ancestors, Lendil, and the 3 heroic combat per turn as well, then I think that would be really cool and worth it. It's quite hot inside this helmet. I'm taking this off in a second. I'm getting a bit of a sweat on. I can't hear myself. Woo. Feels like I've been underwater having spoken in there. I feel a little bit sorry for Nick, who was wearing that at ArdaCon, and he will be again. Okay, so Vander's put, then you got lucky, David, because Azog with Stone Flail. I think he's talking about the old Azog and Bolg. I think the new Azog with Stone Flail. The thing is, would he use the Stone Flail against Aragorn? Because Aragorn, with his 3-point might, would just do the 3 heroic strike each time, and would almost certainly always be a higher fight value as a result, giving him the opportunity to win and wound. And if he's only wounding on a 4+ because of Anduril, because he's King of Lesser, then he's probably going to kill Azog reasonably quickly. Especially having the 3 might, I think he could probably do Azog in 2 turns. Next up, we got Ivan Chimeris. Do you think Grimhammer should get a buff? Again, it's a widely thought thing. The Grimhammers look really cool, but don't really cut the mustard in the game, because people tend to compare them to the inevitable things to compare them to, which is Khazad Guard, which are very good for their points. And I think a big part of that comes from the fact that they pay for the throwing weapons, and throwing weapons aren't really deemed to be worth it. But I think that as the game changes, I think that throwing weapons it's got to be almost certainly one of the things that gets changed, that there's no move and shoot penalty for doing throwing weapons. That would instantly make them much better. But I also think the relevance of things like their ability to both bash and piercing strike is going to become more important in the future, because I think that we might see situations where people pay for certain special strikes and the like, and that would already be factored into the cost of their profile. Maybe that's one of the things that we might see going forward. We've got Kaiser Schulich currently painting mounted Glorfindel. That's cool. David Murphy, you look absolutely knackered, mate. I am. I'm ruined. I'm ruined. Maybe I should put that helmet back on. I'm very tired. Been up with baby since early this morning. I think she was up about 5:15, and then all day it's been. Jane's mum and dad have been coming, we've been doing things in the house and cooking and all that kind of thing, and it's quite late now. It's past midnight, so see how we get on. Debbie's put, I'll definitely try and get to ArdaCon, assuming tickets don't sell out too quickly. Could you give us a quick outline of the structure of the weekend for someone who's completely new to it? And David Murphy also says, I'll be buying ArdaCon tickets sometime after Stockport. Structure of the weekend, ArdaCon this year is a 3-day event containing 3 different tournaments. One tournament is, of course, the infamous Chaos in Arda, which was created by the DC Hobbit League. So the guys over in Washington, good friends of ours, of course, and we loved it when we went to Nova and we played Chaos in Arda. And it's a kind of a battle royale, objective-based game version of the game, a strategy battle game. And DCHL Devin should be coming over to ArdaCon this year, and he should be helping me out on that front as well. So that's very, very, very exciting. That will probably be the first thing that you. I can't remember whether that's first or doubles. I'd have to look at the schedule. But there's also a doubles event, which is just across three games. It's a kind of run chase based event, and then there's also the World Team Championships. The World Team Championships is effectively a singles tournament where you also enter as part of a team. You can't play against other people in your team throughout the whole tournament as a result, and that then equals team points at the end, but you are also going for a singles title. If you don't have a team, we can help you find a team. But as well as the tournaments, there's a ton of other things going on. Games Workshop and Forge World will be there. Steam Forge will be there again. There'll be loads of demo games and stalls and other bits and pieces that will be going on that will be mega cool. If you're not sure what ArdaCon's like and want to know a little bit more about it, do go and check out the ArdaCon group, Hotgates Gaming website as well. Some information's on there. Check out the pictures and also read some of the reviews. I really like, I think it's Crucicum Geiger's blog. I think that's a really good. That's actually on the Hotgates Gaming website. If you go and check that out, there's a link to his blog, and I think that gives a really good idea of what the ArdaCon experience is. But there was also some great YouTubers who vlogged it as well. So you've got Spilfringen, the Fellowship, Blackfire Productions, and then a bunch of guys from the Great British Hobbit League vlogged it as well. You know, the Guardians of Wiltshire and the rest. There was a lot of people. So I hope that's cool. Adam Garnett, your Reavers were bad enough on their own. Don't you dare add a shade to that list. I won't, pal. I won't. That's an upcoming battle report on Hotgates Gaming, which you should be able to check out in the next few weeks. Ivan Chimeris has then put again about Grimhammers again. I think they're weak. Do you think the same? I think they should get -1 defense and get armor as an upgrade. I guess you mean +1 defense and get armor as an upgrade and max to defense 7. I think that's. I don't know. I don't think. Maybe. I don't think that's what we're going to see happen. I don't think that's what we're going to see happen, because dwarves, apart from Khazad really, but dwarves tend to be defense 7 with their heavy dwarven armor and shield. Their heavy armor and shield. So we'll see. Dominic Beast Raybold, it's 12 o'clock on a Monday morning and you're answering nerds' questions instead of getting some shut-eye. James, you're a madman, a beautiful, magnificent madman, and we love you. That's very, very, very kind of you. Luckily for me, Monday is one of my days off. I'm off on Sunday and Monday, so it's probably not as mad as it is for some of you guys staying up watching this, but I don't mind. I wanted to get Speak Friendly question out. We don't like not having it out. And this is cool, getting a bit of real positive community interaction on the page as well, and on the Great British Hobbit League. I think that's really, really cool. We've got Serge C here, but do you think elves are worth to play with them in tournaments? If yes, which region is better, Rivendell, Mirkwood or Lorien? Thank you. Elves are absolutely relevant. And they're all good in their own different ways. Rivendell Knights are very much high on the curve at the moment. They're very, very good, and at certain points levels, Mirkwood in particular does very, very well. Of course, Thomas Harrison won Nova, beat me. The top table at the Nova Open last year was Rivendell Knights versus a Mirkwood / Lothlorien list. So that gives you an idea. Elves are very, very, very worth it. Old Rivendell is generally seen less worth it unless you go more down the all-hero route, but there's still, there's a lot to be said for Fight 5 and decent shooting as well. Brushed Fiction. Did I bring a drink with me? I did bring a drink with me. Absolutely famished here. Excuse me, everybody. Obviously, this is live, so I can't edit this out. Very nice. Okay. Brushed Vixen, if there would be some upcoming upgrades for old Lord of the Rings armies, which one should get some new profiles, models, and what would you do? I think that the two lists which scream out for additions are, of course, the Last Alliance, and it would make sense that if the Middle-earth team started back at the very, very beginning. I would like to see a fleshed out Numenorian list that was up to speed. And a fleshed out Rivendell list that was up to speed with a nice variety of cool different units, great epic models and heroes, and that's what I would like to see. Oh, and also my blessing to you and your family. That's very, very lovely of you, Brush Fiction. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. Tim Hines, do you think Fury should be army specific? So, for example, with Mordor, it would just affect Blackguard Orcs and Mordor Urukai, no men. I would like Blackguard to be affected in my Mordor army list. No, it's race specific, isn't it? It's race specific, so I don't think it should be army specific. I like the fact that it's race specific. I don't actually like Fury particularly. I think that I think it gives an awful lot for very, very cheap, and it completely negates some of the weaknesses of some of those big Horde evil armies. You know, the fact that they're low courage. They shouldn't easily charge scary things, and they shouldn't not run away when you've managed to break through them all. That should be one of the big weaknesses of them. I'm a fan of the idea of splitting Fury into two things, because the save thing doesn't make any sense in my mind. But if you're going to do that, you have that as a separate spell, I think. That's my view on it. If you go and check out our rules, we'd like to see series. Steve and I talk about that a lot in the first episode. Oh, we got Brush Fiction again. Best wishes would be the better term, I guess. Sorry. Look, I accept blessings and best wishes, so thank you very, very, very much. Ivan Chimeris put, loved you answering my question. Absolute pleasure. I'm going to try and answer as many people's as possible. I'm going to jump back from the live stream again in a second, back to the loop. But keep asking away, keep chatting away, talk to each other. Dan Entwistle. Hi James, late tuning in. We'll listen until bed. Well, Dan Entwistle is of course part of the ArdaCon team, and he will be helping me muchly. I will be putting that chap to work at the next ArdaCon. So really, really great to have him involved. Very knowledgeable guy in the game, very, very good at the game, but also a lovely, 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 lovely person. And there's a lot to be said for that, isn't there? A lot to be said for finding genuinely nice people. Of which you are, Danny Entwistle. Ivan Chimeris, watching from North America, and it's only 8 PM here. Well, I won't be here by your midnight, let's put it that way. So here we go. I'm going to jump from the live stream back to the loop. Let's go to the loop. I keep losing the loop. Where's the loop? The loop's over here. Okay, here we go. Addy N has put, hello guys, how do banner rerolls and the usage of might interact? If a hero only has one attack and a player wants to make a reroll, can he only might the second roll or also the initial one? Thanks for all the great content. So if the hero only has one attack and he wants to make a reroll, then he rolls it and he could might the second roll. He can might the second roll, or he could choose not to re-roll and might the first roll. I think I've got your question. I think that's the right answer. I hope that helps. Blackfire Productions, Bwahaha. This is our friend Adam Marcel in Canada. The Great White North. He's put, Bwahaha, earliest. Did you stop having fun and drinking with people, James? Loved that question. I have stopped having fun and drinking with people because I am now a responsible adult. As you can see, staying up until after midnight, drinking Tesco's own sparkling apple and raspberry flavoured spring water, speaking to fellow nerds on the internet when I'm cream crackered. There we go, that's how rock and roll I am these days. Wouldn't have any other way, right? Thomas Brown's, but hey guys, I just got back into SBG after a 15-year break. I'm currently spending hours stripping old metals with cheap toothbrushes and meth bath. And a meth bath, wow. Because of the amount of out production models there are now, I'm sure your guys will know and tell me a better technique. Tom from North Durham. No, I mean, stripping old metals with cheap toothbrushes is the way to do it. In terms of spending hours, Fairy Power Spray, the green stuff, has been the best stuff that I've ever used. Some people use the brown Dettol, that works quite well. But if it's metal models, you can just use acetone. Acetone is just nail polish remover, but do not use that on plastics or fine cast because it will melt them. I hope that helps. Bradley Cobden, what a legend, helped me at last year's ArdaCon, of course. Hey guys, thanks for answering my questions. Do you think Rangers of the North Dunedain models would be good substitutes for Numenor bowmen in tournaments? I would like to use my Numenor more, but I feel it lacks archery at the moment. Oh, you mean actually? I'm actually just sort of dropping them in as yeah, I think that could be cool. They are, I mean, they are ancestors of, aren't they? They are ancestors of. But yeah, why not? Why not? Could be cool. Maybe do some cool conversion work with that to make it fit. I mean, you could just drop them in because, of course, they are independents in that way. We've got King Bones against, but you, Damien, and Tom and Jamie aren't coming to Nova. Really, that would be sad. Yeah, unfortunately, of course, I have other priorities now. You know, as much I want to come back, and I would love to bring Jane and Eleanor, because I love Washington, and I've made some great friends over there. And if any of them are watching this, you know, hello. I've loved it when we've been there. All of us have. It's been, I think Nova has been the highlight of all of our kind of hobby experiences in a lot of ways. One of them certainly, just because of the team dynamic of travelling over there. And I hope some of you guys get that with ArdaCon. You know, travelling over to ArdaCon, you get that same kind of thing. But that's what you know, it was the inspiration for ArdaCon, was the fact that us getting on a plane, coming over to America was unique, and being a team, it was very, very, very unique, and loved it. And we were very, very sad that we won't be able to go this year, but who knows, maybe in the future. So I'm going back to live stream. Let's have a little look. Live stream. Cersei, thank you, man. You are awesome. Thank you very much. Nate Ether, love how you all have helped build the community. Keep it up. I recently got into the game, kind of again, and trying to build a community here in Savannah, GA, USA. Fantastic. Well, good luck with that. You know, best thing is to be really, really awesomely positive. And if you love the game, it will rub off on other people. And you know, hopefully that's what these pages have all been about, whether it's the YouTube or the tournaments or the Facebook pages. Is through that kind of positivity, it becomes infectious and other people want to get involved, and that's how things have snowballed. So thank you very much, and good luck with building your community. Philip Cohen agrees with me about the First Alliance list. Yep, that's the one we want to expand. Garnacore 2016 puts, how viable do you think an all Numenorian army is? If so, what should it include? Well, the heroes are good. Numenorian captain is really good with all of its kit. So it's a Numenorian captain is a mounted fight 5 captain with a lance. You know, that's good. That's really, really good. One of the best captains, certainly of the Lord of the Rings era. I would say, but Isildur and Elendil are also fantastic. Isildur was even better before some of the changes with the ring and mounts and the like, but they are very, very, very good heroes. But the issue in the list is that the heroes have got to do an awful, awful lot, because the troops are neither here nor there. You know, they're not going to win a grind out, they're not going to win a shooting war. So, you know, what are they going to do? So it's pretty tough for them, I think. And I think, so, you know, I personally would like to see them better. I'd like to see elves as better fighters, and, you know, those kind of elite men get moved, you know, Numenorians be moved up to where we currently see elves. But whether that happens or not, I very much doubt. Ivan Chimeris is here again. He's put, looking to build Thorin's company. Do you think that you should get Warriors of Erebor over Grimhammers, or should I at least include a few? Depends whether you like the models or not. I think Grimhammer models are gorgeous. Again, as we said before, they aren't the most, you know, optimise the profiles, you know, if you're going to say that, but whereas Warriors of Erebor are pretty solid but won't necessarily do sort of special things. So yeah, I mean, you go for what you like the look of. I think if I was building that army though, I would probably, from a competitive point of view, you know, stick with the Warriors of Erebor really. We've got Richard Clammer, hello. You put, the new Iron Hills commander with Mattocks has a banner bearer without a Mattock. Do you think they will release one with a Mattock? Would you also use this new banner bearer as a dismount with War Spear? Okay, so this is regards to the new Iron Hill stuff. And those two, I was very surprised to see 2 Iron Hills command packs released so close to each other. I'm really surprised to see it, and they're both gorgeous. I think that what we might see is like weapons packs and shield packs and stuff like that. I think that's the kind of thing that we'll see. Now, guys, bear with me 2 seconds. Bear with me 2 seconds, because I'm doing this off my Mac, and my Mac has just shot down to 5% battery, and it has been known for this just to completely wipe itself out. So give me 2 seconds. Don't disappear. I'm going to leave you here with my friend Bob. Bob is there. Bob is there. Now I know what you all really want to see is my cool gym jams. Huh? Check those bad boys out. Star Wars, look at that, huh? Star Wars gym jams on. I am actually in my gym jams because it is bedtime. And I'm pretty sure at some point in the next half an hour or so, I'm pretty sure Jane will call down like, James, it's 12:30. Something like that anyway. Yeah, so I think that we might see some weapons packs kind of things, you know, with Mattocks on, or there'll be warriors and there'll be spare Mattocks and the like, and you'll be able to glue them on from there. In terms of, would I use the new banner bearer as a dismount with War Spear? Why not? Why not? It's cool. It's a good way of using a cool model. Dan at Entwistle says, you're too kind, sir. Looking forward to the challenge. Well, as you know, ArdaCon is a challenge, and that's why I've got more help this time. You know, having you and Mickey on board is going to be huge, and having PMG and Nick dealing with some more of the kind of front of house side of things as well is going to be pretty big as well. Don Barnett, hello. Don Barnett in Canada. Hey James, what's the next army you will be collecting? All the best. Well, at the moment I think I've collected everything that I want to collect. Again, that sounds like I'm kind of rubbing it in a little bit. If I was going to collect a new army, I don't know, I think it's like, what's the next army that I would like to build and paint up that I haven't already started? Maybe that's a better way to sort of do it. And I think it's probably, I'd like to do Mirkwood Ranger army. I think that'd be really cool. I think that'd be cool. Or maybe I did strip all of my Dunedain models. Maybe just go for a full-on sort of Dunedain army with Halbrand. And, you know, I think that'd be really cool. Maybe something along those lines. But in terms of collecting, maybe a Goat Rider army. There we go. An all Goat Rider army with the captains on goats, Thorin on goat. That'll be cool. That'd be cool. Thanks very much for that, Don. We've got Simon Brown next, but ArdaCon sounds like good crack. We'll get in touch with the Irish team and see what the story is. We'll look to head over with them. Also, will Battle Companies return? I'm sure it will do. At the moment, the priority for the GBHL podcast in terms of what we would consider to be sort of playing content, as it were, is, of course, the Two Towers campaign, which I believe you would have seen the first episode of yesterday. Which I hope you all enjoyed, and that is Jamie's baby. We were actually going to film the Ent scenario. We were going to film that yesterday, as well as Speak Friend and Question, but unfortunately Northwest Gaming Centre was too noisy. It was busy, so so that's what we're going to see for now, and I'm pretty sure we'll do battle companies again in the future. I think so. I believe there was a series where the models got names and a full story. Yeah, that's right. Who did we have? Who did I have? Baloin? Was it Baloin, the dwarf? That was cool. And then the second battle companies, I had like L'Oreal and Tresemme, the hairdressing elves. They were terrible. They would no right. Spoilers. Those elves were terrible. They definitely put me off making an armoured Mirkwood elf army. Team Nordfront, how would you build up an 800 point around Saruman the Wise? He's awesome but so expensive. Saruman the Wise is awesome but expensive. I would probably hoard out troops and cheap heroes and have him and another decent, like maybe Galadriel Lady of Light, supporting. If you're going to go down the J. Clare route, Lake Town, I think doing that with a Gondor horde would be really, really, really good. Or you could even do it with Hobbits. Hobbits, I think, would work reasonably well with that. I played that and I beat it at Preston, though. But it's quite scary to play against. Oh no, it wasn't Saruman the Wise, though. It was Saruman the White. But anyway, there we go. Hope that helps a little bit. McGonagall puts, if a spellcaster cannot see a model at the start of its move, can it move to see it and then cast a spell on that model despite not seeing it at the start of its move? Yes, yeah, it can do that. You can't do that in charge. You can't charge a model that you can't see, but you can move, see something, cast, and then do one. I'm pretty sure. So anyway, if I'm wrong, please jump on and tell me now. Someone who knows, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. What is the most ridiculously unlucky thing that's happened to you in a game? Thanks for answering my questions. You guys have helped energise my hobbies. McGonagall again. Absolute pleasure. I'm glad that everybody gets something from this interaction. From it's not just me either. And it's not even just the GBHL channel team. There's a bunch of TOs out there, and just even guys who are posting on the Facebook group and the like, who are a massive part of this movement, as it were. So, absolute pleasure. Ridiculously unlucky things happen to me in a game. I always find it really hard to remember these things, but at the Warhammer World GT, which wasn't that long ago, so probably a good one to bring up. I was playing against a very good player in Callum Edams. Callum Edams is a very good player in the UK tournament scene. Has won tournaments as well. He beat me the last time that I played him as well, and I was playing against his Galadriel Wood Elf, and also he had some Khazad Guards and Floy in there, I think. Was it Floy? No, he just had Barlin. Yeah, he had Barlin and some Khazads, and then he had loads of Wood Elves, Galadriel, Guards of the Fountain Court, Thranduil, Legolas, that kind of army. And I was playing him at Lords of Battle. Now my evil army is pretty filthy. It's bunch of Corsair Reavers. You've got a Taskmaster, the Golden King of Abrakan, who is awesome, by the way. I didn't lose with the evil army actually, which shows how good it is really. But then Shadow Lord on Fell Beast and Morannon Orcs, Spear and Shield, and a Spectre. And I was playing him at Lords of Battle, and he camped up in the corner, obviously to shoot me as I approached. I did have the Shadow Lord as a hard counter, but as I approached, I think he killed maybe 4 Reavers, which is quite a cost really. But as we were getting to the point where the lines were about to clash, I felt reasonably confident, in those battle lines clashing, and I also knew that he had no kind of real counter to, once the battle lines clashed, the Shadow Lord jumping on, getting onto a flank, either immobilising the thing that he's got on the flank or whatever else. Heroic combat, hurl, down all the Wood Elves, knocking them all down, killing the ones that don't die, then get piercing struck on the floor by the Reavers. Because it's a heroic combat hurl, he goes somewhere else and does the same, and I was pretty confident. So what Callum did was he got Thranduil to, as you do, he got Thranduil to move up into range of my troops, and did a speculative Circlet of Kings cast on a 6. Now remember, my Shadow Lord still had his 2 might, still had 14 will. So it's a speculative thing from him. Doesn't necessarily deem that he's going to get it off. I need a 4+. usually if you want a 4+, you roll 2 dice. If you need a 4+, you roll 3 dice. On something as important as this, but that you've got 2 might on, you roll 4 dice, I think. Maybe 5, but 4 dice definitely. And I rolled a 3 highest, and that meant that the Shadow Lord was dismounted and all my stuff was knocked over. And I looked at Callum at that moment, as soon as I saw my dice roll, and I said, oh my god, I've just lost the game. And it was nice of Callum to sort of say, oh well, no, you never know and everything. I was like, no, me and you both know what was about to happen, and that's now not going to happen. But what it does show is the fact that I was able to come back and win that game against a very good player with a very, very good army. It wasn't down to me. The Corsair Reavers are just, they do so much work for you. They're brutal. So that's probably one of the most unlucky things to happen to me in a game, recently anyway. So, Ivan has put, I was asking for a competitive point of view, so thanks for the answer. Do you agree there should be a miniature modular system like in 40k? I don't know what that is. Clarify to me. A few of you are chatting between each other. David Murphy says, I really hope we do see weapons packs because I have some future lists in my mind. I want to be able to kick competitively Iron Hills dwarves with spears and crossbows. Can you do the combination of the two? I don't think you can in the There and Back Again book. Just check, David Murphy, but I'm pretty sure that you can't put a spear on the crossbows on the Iron Hills dwarves. It says replace. Does it not say replace spear for a crossbow? Someone with There and Back Again, check that for me and comment now so I can see it on the screen in front of me rather than the laptop. Too slow, nobody's done that. Okay. Dominic Beast Raybold, what do you think of this rule for Glorfindel? You've put Hirilan, no idea how to say that. Yep, Brush does agree with me, exchange the shield. Thanks guys. So Dave, you can't put spears on your dwarf crossbows. Boom. That's a good thing about live stuff, isn't it? When I don't know, I just ask you guys. I was pretty sure that was true. So Glorfindel will never suffer penalties to his fight value or dual roll with the exception of fainting. I've priced this rule at 15 points. It's an interesting rule and a little bit different. I think that we'll see a new Glorfindel in the future, and I think that he'll be absolutely awesome. Again, it makes sense that Last Alliance and the like, and that kind of story is where they start off Middle-earth strategy battle gaming, and I imagine that he would be part of that in a way. McGarnagle, what is the coolest or most exciting moment you've ever had in a game? Oh, I'm always terrible at this, at remembering. Cool, because that's the one. Joe, and it's the cool thing about SBG, isn't it, guys? It's the cool thing about the game is that in every single game of SBG, or nearly every single game in SBG, it gives you 2 or 3 really, really standout, awesome moments of things that shouldn't happen. I think that Vander says that you can have spear and crossbow for the Iron Hills. So, wait, well, you guys can check on your There and Back Again books because I'm busy doing this, so there we go. So yeah, I think that SBG always gives you 2 or 3 really, really cool models, cool moments in a game. So it's really hard to kind of remember them all, really. Remember them all. I know that's a bit of a brush off, but anyway. And here we go. We've got Ivan again. What do you think is the coolest models? Coolest models are, I really like Glorfindel on foot. I really, really like, I like a lot of the Breaking of the Fellowship models. I think are really, really cool, like all of them. I love Erkenbrand as a model. I really, really like that. What else do I like? Really, really, really like. I was surprised how much I liked the Golden King of Abrakan, actually. He was really cool. Breaking the Fellowship, Legolas is a good shout. I agree, Kaiser. I like There's so many, aren't there? There's so many really cool models. There really are. We are blessed. We are blessed. New Thranduil on Elk. Now that is a cool model. It's a cool model. Looking forward to that one. Brushed Fiction says you replace the shield. You exchange the shield. Okay, so but spear and crossbow. So just relevant. Spear and shield is okay. Is it? Who knows? So Ivan says in 40k when you assemble Space Marines you choose their weapons, head orientation, arms, so on. I think that we might get weapons packs and the like. I don't think we'll necessarily get like lots of modular things, but I think that we might get weapons packs. Because remember that Space Marines are basically, it's quite easy to do that thing with a Space Marine. It's not as easy to do it with like a cinematic, free-flowing, knife-wielding elf with a huge amount of detail, It's not as easy to do things like that, I don't think so. Anyway, apparently I pronounced the Sindarin right for Lord of the Sword. And you are very welcome, Dominic. You just don't gain the shield will rule. Okay. Totally, you replace the shield with an expo and you buy a spear. Okay. So all of you are right. Some of you are agreeing. Breaking the Fellowship Legolas. Tauriel, I'm not a huge fan of the Tauriel models, but I think Tauriel's a cool profile. 3 Hunters Aragorn's cool. Spear and shield are okay. Sword and shield okay. Mattock and spear okay. Oh, okay. So David Murphy, you were right. There we go. So I will press on with the loop. I'm going to press on with the loop. Here we go. Since most of the live things have been answered, feel free to keep on asking questions. Nathan Van Til put on Speak Fan question last week. James, I love when you say things like, now that's very interesting. You tend to say it in a way that reminds me of a teacher trying to stoke a discussion in a class. That is very interesting. Well, this is all about discussion. This is all about interaction and discussion. Somebody's asked what the loop is. The loop is if you go on to the Great British Hobbit League, if you go on to the GBHL podcast on YouTube, if you go onto the GBHL podcast on YouTube, there's a show, which is this show, called Speak Fan Question, which isn't normally live, which we tend to record and answer your questions. And each week people must ask questions. If you do ask a question, then you are obliged to enter the loop and you must ask a question every single week until the end of your days. That is the loop. King Boneseye has put, I've started Rivendell Knights as an alliance. I would have thought that was completely against your grain, King Boneseye, as a dwarf. What is this? How is it best to use a captain and a few knights as an ally during Sun? Well, as a dwarf, those knights are going to be behind your lines, shooting, waiting for the lines to clash, jumping on flanks when you lose priority and charge in. And then spin around and get in some decent conditions, or maybe keep some back for the counter charge just in case your line, maybe go up for the grind, see how you get on in the grind, and if they start to get troops coming through or coming around the flanks, that's when you counter charge them. That's probably how I would use them. Thanks very much for that, King Boneseye. Next up we've got Callum D. He's put, hi chaps, hope all is well. I recently finished painting my display of the Nazgul GW creation versions and I'm very happy with it. I'm now thinking of creating a diorama of a single Wraith entering the Shire looking for Bilbo. That sounds very cool. So as my question, if you were to create a diorama based on any scene from the 6 films, what would you choose? Now that's tough. What diorama would I choose? I think I'd probably choose something quite simple. Something iconic and simple, like Riddles in the Dark Passage is not just iconic in the books, but it's also very iconic in the movies as well. It's one of my favourite parts of the Hobbit movies. Riddles in Dark Package. Careful of the Dark Package. Riddles in a Dark Passage is very, 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 very cool. So I'd probably maybe something like that. Or the 9 Nazgul chasing Frodo is a great suggestion, whoever just suggested that. I do like the idea of that. Going across the river with the Brunion sort of coming across, that'd be really, really cool. That would be cool. Or maybe even with, you'd have like the 9 Nazgul on one side of the river then you'd have the river, and you'd have the white horses, and then you have a converted Arwen with Frodo sort of facing them or reared up. That would be cool. Or you could even do it as Glorfindel if you wanted to go like the books. That could be quite a cool scene. There's so many dioramas that you could do. I think that would be a cool diorama. If somebody wants to do that diorama for me, that will have pride of place. I'm very, very lucky because I've got some very cool stuff from some very talented people. So I've got a beautiful display board from Kev of Shadow and Flame, and Dave, who are great friends of mine. I'm big supporters of those guys, and they're big supporters of me and us as well. So I've got a wonderful display board from them. I've got gorgeous Rohirrim terrain from Rick Fryer. I've got bits and pieces from the Scouring of Cheshire, which is Cool Steve's tournament, which is in July, I think it is. I've got stuff from Greenleaf Terrain that Adam from Greenleaf Terrain sent me. I've got stuff from Adam Wright, Wargaming Terrain, that he sent me. Tim Croft's given me boards. I'm very, very, very lucky. Bad connection. Bad connection. Can you guys still see me? Everything just went red and said bad connection. Comment if you can still see me. So, thank you very much for that question, Callum D. Yeah, there's lots of cool ones. Yeah, bad connection. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Matt M. But hey, guys, what profiles would you like to see get an update? How would you update them? Already spoken a little bit about that. I think you've got the obvious ones, haven't you? I think Theoden is cool. Bad connection. It's stubbed for a bit. Let me know if this is coming through okay, guys. Give me a thumb up. Everybody who's watching this, give me a thumb up if this is coming up right now. And you can hear and see me fine. Yeah, Theodred needs an update. I'd agree with that. Yes, thumbs up. Yep, everything's fine. Cool. Back to business. Yeah, I think Theoden, Lurtz, Balrog are really, really common ones. Because they're iconic. And I think that's what people like to see. Thanks everybody giving me thumbs up and fines and the like. Let's go on to the next question. Stephen Bonner has put March 11, 2015. He's finished 335 since the beginning of January this year to add to my 180 from September to December last year. That's the number of models he's painted, which is incredible. Looks like Helm's Deep's Rohan next. Good choice. Any tips on a Rohan force for tactics? List ideas based on Helm's Deep heroes? Well, list ideas. If you're going to do it off a theme, go for the theme. But in terms of competitive, I believe I answered this on the Great British Hobbit League page to you. Lots of people are fans of going sort of three ways with Rohirrim infantry. One way is to just go cheap and hoard out the troops, or do throwing spear spam along with that. I personally prefer a Royal Guard shield wall supported by banner, shielding, and then your heroes, or in a combined force army with cavalry. They do the killing and they do the flank work. Tim Hines is here and he's put, hello, my question this week is Tim Hines, you this question live. Wow, cool. Wah has asked a question. He's put, great episode, what a cracking ending to the week by cuddling up with the loop. On to this week's ravings. From last week's questions on new books, he'd love to see a new book, new rule book, and then a single book for Lord of the Rings good, and then Lord of the Rings bad, with both of those taking the same format as There and Back Again, packed with scenarios and profiles and army special rules. Yeah, I think that's quite cool. On entry to the hobby, granted Forge World is not cheap, not easy to work with for new people, but still enough of the plastic Finecast love going around that there's easy access for new players, but for years to come. The resin from Forge World isn't particularly tough to work with. It's gorgeous. It's not tough to work with. It's not the same as plastic, obviously, but I think that it's good stuff. And some of the models are really are going to be quite expensive for some people, but not for others. But quite expensive for some people. But there are still routes into it with the new stuff because of things like I think the Iron Hills Box of Warriors is great value for what you get. But that's an opinion. You've put on working with Finecast, the only time I feel like a sculptor is trying to patch a model up and still 1,000 times better than working with metal. So there we go. Vanda says, Forge World Reading is quality, you pay for the quality. Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a question here. Question, just the one. Special Strikes, love them or hate them, they really opened up the game and were a great addition to the game. Now, not everybody agrees with that. That's very interesting that you think that's the case. I think that some people worried that they would slow down the game in some aspects. I like Special Strikes. I just think that some of them are just it's too obvious. It's like, you know, if something is a given, I might as well feint, or I might as well piercing strike, then, and there's no, you know, real kind of having to think whether it's worth it or not. You know, that's the issue for me. But having said that, they need a rules update. My thought was that every weapon should be able to special strike, as after all, you could really swing a sword and try and hack someone's head off. Why not give every weapon an ability to special strike, pretty much all of them, but limit the effect? So unless it's an axe, it just adds a +1 strength, but you still drop defense 3 if you lose the combat. Would make some interesting tactical choices in the game, methinks. Thanks all GBHL hosts, legends, one and all, even Harry. Harry is a legend, love Harry, he's a great guy, really nice guy. Okay, well, it's an interesting view. Like, obviously you could feint with a different type of weapon if we were talking about sort of historically accurate, or the effects of piercing strike, or all those other types of things. But I like if there's variety. I like variety. I prefer the variety, in my opinion. Kaiser Schulich. Okay, so you asked the question for this week, but last week's question, because it was one of the 11, you put, it was about gaming boards. Was just wondering what you'd recommend as a cheap and easy way to make a decent gaming board, regular glassy flat. I want to make 2x2 sections for storage reasons. Cheers. Just go and pick up some MDF. You can usually get them to cut it in places like your B&Q and the like. And then water down PVA glue, gravelly sand, let it dry, shake it off. Either spray it in the garden, or, you know, get some test a pot of paint and just go over it. Dry brush with like a ivory kind of coloured paint, a creamy coloured paint, and that's your base. And then you can always just flock parts of it. That's kind of what I would probably do. It's basically like a big version of how I base miniatures, and that's about it really. So thank you very much for that, Kaiser. Parker Richards, hi all, wondering what you guys, both Rohan players, think about, well of course Chris isn't with me this week, so what I think as a Rohan player, think about potential rules updates for Rohan. They're supposed to be the greatest cavalry in Middle-earth, and right now they're just not. I'm not saying they have to be rivaling Rivendell Knights necessarily, but right now, for their points, Harad probably has better cavalry. Possibly. I think, again, I don't think you can take these things in isolation. So again, it comes back to like the Azog question. You know, is Azog better than Aragorn? Or maybe in like a one-on-one matchup, maybe he is. But you know, with the points you pay and the relevance of the game, the scenarios, the troops that things bring, all those different types of things come into it. And you know, I don't know. I think a Rohirrim cavalry list is probably better than a Haradrim cavalry list, even though it isn't on paper, just because maybe a combination of the heroes and things like being able to abuse the bow limit and all those types of things. Personally, I'd be interested in seeing more things that you could just update basic riders. Yeah, I like that. So say you could do Aemma's Aerid, +1 courage and fight, and gets the devastating charge special rule. Don't have to take a courage test to charge a terrifying opponent, or something like that. Maybe riders from the world wouldn't have the penalty for moving and shooting or something. Or one group could just gain a Fleetfoot-like rule. Just a thought. And of course, why are Rohirrim spears not just seen as lances? They use them in that way, so it always baffles me. Well, lots of people again make that point. I mean, it creates a bit of variety in the game. I know that from a competitive point of view, would prefer that they were lances, you know, but you know, throwing spears is quite a unique thing to Rohirrim. Do I think that they're better than lances? No, but it's something that's a little bit unique. I understand that point, but don't necessarily agree with it. In terms of rules for Rohirrim, again, it comes back to I would like to see things which tied into certain parts of the movie. So I think, you know, let's say that you had the defenders of Helm's Deep, and Defenders of Helm's Deep contained the heroes that were there, and the troops that were there, and the special rule could be you know, a reinforcement rule that after turn 2 on the roll of a 2+ or whatever else, that either Gandalf the White's warband, Erkenbrand's warband or Éomer's warband, if you chose any of those to come in, can enter the board edge from any point and can charge the turn that they arrive. Something like that, you know, that fits in with the movies. That could be quite cool. The Pelennor, I think the Pelennor, you need to really sort of buff Theoden. You need to, you know, if you take a Pelennor Fields list that contains this, and this, then Theoden becomes a 12-inch banner and gives fight 4 or whatever on the first turn that they charge. I think that that's something that we might see. You know, a buff for when Rohirrim initially charge, because I can imagine that people like the idea of Rohirrim being able to do what you see them do on the Pelennor Fields and at Helm's Deep when they're mounted, and of course they can't really do that at the moment. So who knows? That's kind of my thoughts really. Next up, we got James Gilray, who's giving me a Lake Town list. He's put, "Hey guys, I hope you're all doing great. Was wondering if you give an opinion on my next army. It's an 800-point list, and you want more feedback. See us at Stockport. Survivors of Lake Town at 800 points. Bard the Bowman, General Armour Horse, good. 6 down Lake Town Militia with Shield, 6 with Spear, good. Gandalf the Grey Horse, 4 Militia with Shield, 8 with Bows. Hilda Bianca, 6 Militia with Shield, 6 with Spear. Alfred, 6 Lake Town Militia with Shield, 6 with Spear. Percy, 12 Lake Town Militia with Bows." I think it's a tremendously competitive list, like obscenely competitive list. Lake Town really did get a boost in there and back again, and they were already good, but they definitely got a boost. And they are, in my opinion, they're up towards the top of the curve. We haven't really seen too much of that yet, but I think as new models come out, we'll see more and more of them. That is a very competitive list. It'd be very hard to beat, unless Lords of Battle with monsters and the like, right? Okay, so Wartman RP, welcome. You put, "Hey guys, getting back into the loop. Firstly, congrats on the little one. Thank you very much. I hope she's sleeping well. She is right now. I'm not, but she is. Question time. Andreas recently asked in discussion series, how can we be ambassadors for the hobby? Do you have any thoughts on that?" You know, I think I said it earlier in this video, just being positive, you know, being positive, being passionate about what you do is a great way of being an ambassador for the hobby. Not being a good ambassador for a hobby is nitpicking, being negative, you know, playing new people a particular way, you know, those types of things really. So yeah, just being positive is a great way of being an ambassador. What else have you put here? Also, knowing you don't like them, how do you build an Eastling force? I've recently picked them up, but can't decide if I should go full army or just paint up what I've got as an allied contingent. Eastlings, I don't like them, but there's a battle report that's coming on Hotgates Gaming very soon, which is very awesome, versus Benjamin Bowles' Gondorians. I didn't expect it to be awesome because I don't like Easterlings, but actually it turns out to be a really visually beautiful battle report. So if you're not subscribed to Hotgates Gaming, get on it. We've got a question live here. What do you think about the new troll from Forge World? It's huge, isn't it? It's huge. Gorgeous model. Pretty expensive, but gorgeous. It's a lot of resin, isn't it? It's not something on my priority list. I can't see myself getting those things, but I can see a lot of other people getting them. I think they'll be cool. They'll definitely look great on a shelf painted up. All of the new stuff looks amazing painted up. So Eastling Force, back to Eastling Force. What would I do? I would probably, you know, where possible, try and hoard it out, get your Black Dragon upgrades for parts of your force and do the supports that way. I think your heroes are going to have to do a reasonable amount. You know, Kamal's almost certainly got to be on a Fell Beast doing stuff. You're going to go pure Easterlings, which of course I couldn't do in that Eastling back rep on Hotgates Gaming. So it's an Eastling Force without Kamal, without Fell Beast. You know, it's a cool game. Thanks for that, Wartman RP. Next up we've got James in Miniature Space. From what I've seen, not a lot, I think Eval armors probably do better because of how people stack abilities when building competitive armies. I'd agree. E.g. Ring Wraiths, -1 Courage, Spectres, Shades, etc. And because a lot of the core good abilities, e.g. Blinding Light, tend to have more of an impact on other good armies than evil armies. Yeah, so a decent observation on. I would agree with that. Sean Clark next. He's put, is that Faramir with James? It is. And Chris has gone inside the suit. Question. I'm using Moray Goblins at Desolation. Excellent stuff. Is it acceptable to use metal goblins as captains, or do I need to use specific captain figures? How about converting some of the plastics into different poses? So it's important that I must get about 20 messages before any event. Before a Desolation event. I got more than that for ArdaCon with regards to proxy. So if you use a model that isn't the model directly, it's a direct proxy. In direct proxies, we tend to be more on the no side of Desolation. Now, some tournaments that's fine. It's not because we're dead against you doing that or anything. It's just because that's the nature of the tournament, and it makes it clear for people that are attending. If you make some effort with your conversions and with things like Goblin Captains and all that can be, if it's a metal model on a nice base, maybe a different colour scheme and the like, then that should be enough. But if you're not sure, the best thing to do is take a picture of it next to your normal goblins, and we'll let you know what we think about it. So that's the best thing to do. Thank you very much for that, Sean. I'm glad you're coming to Desolation. See you soon. We've got Miami Fan 2191. I didn't manage to answer your questions last time, but late in the show here, I'm answering them now. Might be an obvious answer to this question, but Aristor's throwing daggers say re-rolls any failed rolls to wound made when throwing these daggers or using them in a fight. Does this mean you can use the daggers in a fight, and if you win, essentially get 4 chances to wound? Yeah. So if you fail to wound, you can re-roll, basically. Another question. In the Lord of the Rings book, Nature's Wrath says that one affected foe can attempt to resist it. What if there is no one with will affected by it, like normal troops? Do normal troops get a free will to resist? No. So unless your troops have resistance to magic, if the Nature's Wrath is only in range of troops, obviously with no will, no resistance to magic, and not in range of any heroes, it isn't resisted. They will just get knocked down. So, it's a good tactic, actually. Good tactic. Also, the Hobbit book just says that all enemies within 6 inches are not prone. Does that mean that it can't be resisted? If you've got no one to resist, then yeah. Absolutely. I hope that helps, Miami Fan. Wartman RP is back again, and he's put, in regards to looking around DC, so Washington, I highly recommend checking out some of the sites, even if it means extending your trips by a day or two. Absolutely. We did the same. So when we went to Nova the last 2 years, we'd go there a couple of days early, and that means that Damien and I would do our trip to the mall for our wives, but the rest of us, we did things like go to Lincoln Memorial and go inside Congress and all that kind of thing, the Capitol building, go to the White House, all that kind of cool stuff. Definitely worth doing. And we did go in one of the museums. I'll do this from Darryl Edwards. James, I'm looking forward to seeing some Guild Ball. When can I expect to see the next game? Guild Ball will be on the Hotgates Gaming. I filmed a Guild Ball, 2 Guild Ball videos. One getting me up to speed with Season 3 Guild Ball, because obviously I'm a little bit behind. With GBHL Jamie, who wasn't GBHL Jamie in that video, he's Steamforce Jamie. And I tell you what, super proud of him. He's absolutely nailed that. It was great in the video, so I'm looking forward to editing that. And then we played a match, and it was Old Butchers, so I used the Old Butchers that I first ever started filming with versus Smokes Alchemists. So keep an eye on Hotgates Gaming. That's probably gonna be maybe a month away, I would imagine, maybe sooner. Just depends. Free time is tough to get, isn't it? It's tough to get hold of. So back to Wartman RP. Smithsonian museums are free, and many of those you could spend days in. Absolutely. We went to which one did we go? We went to the American Museum of Natural History, I think it was. You recommend the Native American Museum, the African American History Museum, Air and Space, Natural History. Also, all of the war memorials are really pretty and moving, and if you end up at them all at night, be sure to check out the Korean War Memorial, as it has a very eerie design when viewed in the dark. Didn't know that. You know that. Well, next time we go, we'll have to have a look at that. We have done a lot of those things. Obviously, you can't go in all of the museums unless you're there for a long period of time, but yeah. David Murphy. David Murphy's got a couple here. I think a new rule book, and then one for all the good profiles and armies, and one for all the evil profiles is quite likely. So you agree with me. Makes sense as well. Then from a practical point of view, you won't want everything in one big book now, because it would be way too big to carry around. For Goat Riders, I intend to get over time enough to make them a 500 points all-mounted Erebor reclaimed list. Thorin, King Under the Mountain on Goat. Iron Hills Captain on Goat. 14 Goat Riders is 495 points. Yeah, I'm doing that as well, Mr. Murphy. I'm definitely doing that as well. Next up, we've got Debbie. Hey, James, it's Josh Devoy from Chester. Hey, how's it going, buddy? You alright? I'm really looking forward to Stockport, but I'm having trouble choosing a list because 800 points is way above my usual games. I play mostly around 500, 600 points, so I'm going in fairly blind. Any tips on list building? I'm looking at a Gondor list with Boromir, Beregond, Denethor, 3 full warbands with Gandalf as magic support, but I'm really unsure as there's so many different lists you can match up against at 800 points army. Or should I just break out Thorin's company and have a bit of fun? Up to you completely. If you want to do a bit of competing with Gondor, I would, at 800 points Gondor list, I probably wouldn't have Gandalf. It'd be great if he could lead Gondor troops, wouldn't it? But I probably wouldn't have Gandalf as magic support if you want to compete. I think that the Saruman the Wise would be great in this list. Lady of Light would be good, because being able to cast Fortify Spirit on a tanked up Boromir is hugely valuable, because at 800 points you're going to come up against magic. So magic, you definitely do need magic if you want to compete. And I think that those two are probably going to be your best options if you're going to hoard out your Gondor. And if you're going to go down the Boromir option, which isn't, you're not fully hoarding your Gondor, he's got to be able to do a lot, and at 800 points he's not going to be able to do that if he's just immobilised every turn. But if you want to break out Thorin's company, have some fun, Stockport's a great place to do it, because we always get tons and tons of new people who are there to have a good time, as well as the handful of people who are competing. So it'd be great to see you there, and I'm just gutted I didn't get to make the Beacons of Chester in the end. Really, really gutted, because it looked like fantastic fun and I enjoyed the last time I came. So we've got Stephen Bonner again. He's put ArdaCon's on sale. Get on it, boys. Certainly is. Get on it, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you guys at Desolation of Stockport and ArdaCon. So here we go. Question 1. What are you looking forward to most from the current release list? Mattock Dwarves, Mattock Command, Blade, Troll, Club Troll, or Thranduil on Elk? Thranduil on Elk. Easy peasy. Question 2. If you've not heard, I've started Helm's Deep Rohan. Any advice on my list? Theoden, Heavy Armour Shield, 12 Royal Guard Throwing Spears, Gambling with Banner, 12 Warriors Shield Throwing Spears, Captain Heavy Armour Shield Throwing Spear, 12 Warriors Outriders, need to buy Outriders Bows. How do a bow, 12 Gladrian, 4 bows, 8 Spear and Shield. I think that's pretty good. I think it's cool. I don't particularly rate throwing spears. I would rather have more warriors, or get for the price of your throwing spears. What's that? 24. For the price of some of your throwing spears in there, you could probably get Eowyn. I'd probably swap out Eowyn for. I'd swap out the captain for an Eowyn, to be honest, and get some more stuff like that, maybe, or just drop some of the throwing spears and get that. I just think that she's better. Extra fight 5. Just my advice there, Stephen. And the final question from here, so I suggest that if you want me to continue, that you start asking them live again. David Murphy again has put, regarding best and worst monsters for their points cost, yes, Felbeasts are most definitely the best, followed swiftly by the Goblin King. Yeah, absolutely. For worst monsters, I reckon Great Beasts and or Mummoks, because of the low fight value for the points cost. Stumpy, aka the Troll Brute, as well, for being only fight 4, is pretty poor. There we go. So good input there. So I'm going to make this a nice round 2-hour video. That means you've got 7 minutes to ask live questions. So let's have a little look. Let's have a little look at the live questions. Some armies game nasty bonus with those strikes. Goblins whistle. Yep, absolutely. Gundabad Troll or 200 Freddos. Good about Troll, actually, I'd go for. But I value my teeth and not having diabetes. Vander's Hammerhand. There's Mounted Grimbold For once he was at the Pelennor mounted. Yeah, I don't understand Rohan heroes not being able to be mounted. So King's Huntsman on a horse and Grimwald on a horse would be great. Would be really good. And if Grimwald's upgrade affected riders, then that would be superb. That would be superb. That would be really cool. You could upgrade them to be strength 4. That would be huge. That would be huge. Kaiser, but thanks for staying up so late and answering questions, James. Time to sleep for me. Got to get up for uni and all that. Good luck at uni, buddy. Chair softer even. But what do you think about the new troll from Forge World? Again, think it's massive. Daryl's put thank you. I know you're busy. No problem at all. I wanna do more Guild Ball content when I can. Brush Fiction. Is there a spell you would add to the game? I don't know. I've never really thought about that. A spell I would add to the game. No, I think that it'd be good to have more access to certain spells and less access to other spells. But in terms of new spells, no, I've never really particularly thought of any. If any of you guys in this next 6 minutes can think of any, then do let me know. We've got Dominic again has put 24 goat riders and dismounts or 1,680 Freddos. Yeah, I know. I mean, 24 goat riders is the goal, isn't it? Maybe at some point. Brush Fixen has put in which combination would Círdan be more competitive? Okay, so Círdan. Well, the problem with Círdan is that he's unarmed. If he didn't count as being unarmed, then he wouldn't be terrible, and he's pretty expensive for an unarmed model. But he's one of the cheapest ways for high elves to bring blinding light. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have sort of huge. Círdan's definitely one that I'd like to have looked at. He's a gorgeous model and obviously cool in the fluff and the like. But I'm not sure that there are sort of competitive combinations of having him in there other than trying to get him to lead high elves and provide their cheapest option for blinding light thematically. That's all I could say about that. So Vandus Hammerhand has got a suggestion for a spell here. Gandalf's Shield. Let me know what it is. What does Gandalf's Shield do? And Dominic Beast Raybold has put 12 Mirkwood Knights and dismounts or 560 Freddos. Philip Curran, would a +1 or -1 to a model stats unbalance the game too much? Or in terms of a spell? Not if it was just for a turn. I think it's quite cool. But then again, you've got things like you've got Immobilize. So as a spell, Immobilize does all of that better and is usually relatively cheap to price. Brush Vixen has said thanks and a good night. To be fair, guys, I think that he's right. I think that it's time for bed. Thank you very much for staying up late with me. I hope you've enjoyed having a live Speak Friend and Question. It's been something a little bit different. As ever, if you would like to see questions answered next week, then do comment on the video once it's published, and we'll filter those out for next week's episode. If you did like having a live version, then again, let us know. It could be something that we just do from time to time. Good night, Dave. It could be something that we just do from time to time. It could be something that we do a little bit more regularly. It really is up to you guys. Obviously, this is a less polished version of video, although Speak Friend and Question isn't generally, particularly polished anyway. But you're not going to get sort of the green screen and all that kind of stuff we do this. But if you do like the live video format, then we'll try and roll out a couple of those every now and again, especially in the instances where I've been unable to meet up with somebody to do a show where I'm actually sat with someone. So yeah, maybe we'll do the live one a little bit more in these instances. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, vendors. Thanks everybody who commented on the live chat. Thanks everybody who asked a question last week. A nice change up to the usual format though. I did like the 3 hosts. Yep, 3 hosts was great. Again, takes organising. I think as and when we can organise stuff like that, we will continue to do that. But when I can't, maybe I'll do one of these live videos. Probably not as late. Thanks for all of the thank yous to you guys who've stayed up. And let's do this. Don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Support your Hobbit host by checking the links in the video description below. Make sure that you like our Facebook page, that you follow us on Twitter, you support your Hobbit hobby, and happy strategy battle gaming.